Would you mind telling us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I'm a professional harmonica player. I grew up in Mississippi, in Jackson and Vicksburg, and then went down to Louisiana to LSU, and that's where I became a musician, a real playing musician. So I consider myself a Louisiana blues man playing harmonica, and just enjoy playing. I've been in Nashville for 12 years now, and it's just been a joy to be here in the Music City and to interact with all these fantastic musicians.
So you say you're a harmonica player. I was wondering if you play anything else, and is the harmonica your first instrument?
Harmonica is the first instrument. In the last 10 years, I've picked up guitar and bass and drums and keyboards little by little. I can gig on the guitar barely. I don't like to call myself a guitar player, but I can write songs and play them at the Bluebird and that sort of thing.
When you were growing up, what was your favorite artist or your inspiration?
The blues guys, I loved the blues guys. I loved Muddy Waters and B.B. King and Coco Taylor and even the older Robert Johnson. And I got to them, of course, through the British Invasion people. I was first listening to, the Rolling Stones and Clapton and Led Zeppelin, and I realized they got their music from right around here. And then so I started looking back and really got off on the blues. Later, Slim Harpo from Baton Rouge. I had the privilege to play with a lot of Slim Harpo's band members for years in Baton Rouge. But many of the artists, the blues artists and people who dabbled in the blues, even more R&B and soul and pop artist, James Taylor. Love James Taylor. He dabbles in the blues now and then, but he's not by any stretch a blues artist. There's so much great music out there.
When did you really start singing?
Well, I was playing the blues in a joint called Tabby's Blues Box in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and had some other guys, young guys like myself at the time, and we started playing together. And after a while, we realized somebody got to sing. And I didn't really like singing, didn't want to sing. It was all about me playing harmonicas. That's my real joy. But I was singing just because nobody else would. And I've still been doing it, and it's turned out to be a good thing. I don't really consider myself a great vocalist, but I consider myself a guy who can deliver a song. I play with a lot of great vocalists. I certainly enjoy playing with James Nixon like we have here today at the Frankilin Jazz Festival, who is one of the top vocalists in the world, if you ask me. But as a singer, I do it to support my harp playing.
I know you mentioned the Frankilin Jazz Festival. Have you ever been here before?
I've seen for years all the great acts down here and intended to go, but when you're playing music professionally, usually if there's a gig that you want to go see, usually you got a gig too. Yeah. And so I wound up going to my own gigs and wishing I could come to the Frankilin Jazz Festival. So it's just been an honor and a privilege to be down here.
Would you like to come back next year?
Oh, I hope so. I hope I'll come back and play, and I hope I'll come back and get to listen to more people. Last night we played the first set with Delicious Blues Stew. And I stayed all night long. As I'm telling you, I really enjoyed every single act on the show. I met some guys from Austin. Turned out some of them had played with some of my friends back in Baton Rouge. And what's the band? Mingo Fish Trap. They were great. Did you enjoy them? Oh, man, they were great.
What would you say is really your favorite style of music?
It certainly is my soul, but I wouldn't say a favorite style of music because, the blues led to everything else. The blues led to jazz back in over 100 years ago down in New Orleans area, and then later the blues in the you could say around the 1920s, led to country music, 1930s, then coming on up through history led to rock and roll, and all of the sub-variations of rock and roll. A lot of people say the first metal band was Jimi Hendrix, and other people say the first metal band was Clapton, the first metal band was Led Zeppelin. They were all blues guys. You know, the Beatles were playing the blues when they first started to play, so the blues has led to everything, right on up to rap. I heard a rap song last week that was a 12-bar 1-4-5, you know, and of course, so it all comes from the blues, so I love the blues and wound up loving most all the styles that have come from it. Even bluegrass, Bill Monroe said his vocal style was touched by the blues.
What would you like to accomplish, or what kind of goals do you have through your singing?
Yeah, I would say I just play because I love to play. I hope I reach people with my music just for providing pleasure to other people. I'm also very involved in teaching music. I teach children, young players, how to play in bands, and I try to teach them all the stuff I learned coming up in the juke joints of South Louisiana. So if I have a goal now, I guess it's to bring the love of music to the next generation. But it's really all about just playing. I love to play, and it brings me great joy and pleasure, and I'm just honored that somebody else wants to listen now and then.
And you said a little bit about teaching, and am I right in saying that you taught a little bit with Nick Nixon?
Yeah, we have a group called American Roots Music Education. We play about 70 schools a year, all over the Mid-South, mostly Middle Tennessee, but we do play other states also. We won an award called the Keep the Blues Alive Award from the International Blues Foundation for our work in that. And humbly, I have to say, it's the best school assembly you'll ever see. But it's because Nick is such a great talent, and we try to keep it fun and funny and basically bring that knowledge that the blues is the roots of most all-American popular music. So that's what we do in our Blues in the Schools program.